My pranams to all Atma Jyotis, divine light of the self. I welcome all of you for today's session of Aparoksha Anubhuti. Aparoksha Anubhuti means, we have already discussed, the direct experience of the truth. Any experience in our life is indirect. For example, if I want to see a book, okay, I need eyes and mind, sense organs and the mind. I want to see an apple, I need sense organs and the mind. Sense organs and the mind are instruments. That means my experience of the apple is indirect. If my eyes are defective, if my eyes have jaundice, I'll see this as yellow. If my eyes are colorblind, I'll see the world as colorless. So it requires an instrument to know the world. That instrument is called sense organs and the mind. This is called pratyaksha. So then there is a anumana. Anumana means I can make a guess. Oh, there is a smoke, there should be fire. The anumana, inference. But anumana also requires sense organs. I should see the smoke, then I have to guess. So this is the experience of the world, pratyaksha and anumana. Okay, but your own experience of yourself is always direct. It does not require sense organs and the mind. If you go into a room, if I ask you, is there a chair? I don't know. There's a darkness in the room. Is there a table? I don't know. There's darkness in the room. So now, you cannot see because pratyaksha will not work, anumana will not work because the sense organs will not work. There's no light. But if I ask you, are you there? You say, yes, I am there. No. You don't need light. Do you need light to find out you are there? No. Okay. I am there is my direct experience. That is called aparoksha. So now aparoksha is, there are three means of knowledge. What is called pratyaksha through sense organs, anumana through mind, inference, and then we have aparoksha, direct. So I know about myself directly. I don't need anybody. Then what is this Upanishad? What is this Vedanta doing about me, about teaching me about myself? Vedanta is teaching me about Atmadnana, myself. How can Vedanta teach me about myself? I know myself. I know I exist. But the problem is, I know I exist, but I am doing a mistake there, an error. If I ask you in the dark room, are you there? You say, yes, I am there. Because you have a direct experience of you are there. Then I ask you, how do you say that? Then you say, because body is there, I am there. So you confuse our existence with the body. So aparoksha anubhuti, a direct experience, is confused with the perception and inference and mixed up with other knowledge, other means of knowledge. That's all. So Vedanta is trying to separate out this mix-up. The wrong understanding, I am there because of body and mind. This mistake is being corrected. That's all it's happening. So otherwise, Atmadnana does not require a Vedanta textbook. You have a direct knowledge of yourself. Please understand, if you want to know science, you need a book. You need chemistry, you need a book. But you want to know about yourself, there's no book required, there's no teaching required. But you know about yourself, but if you know wrongly, then the correction is required. That correction is called Vedanta. So don't think that Atmadnana is something out of the world. It's about you. It's about me. It's about correcting my own understanding of myself. That's called Vedanta. So that's why we started studying the aparoksha anubhuti, direct experience of truth. So don't say, I'll study aparoksha anubhuti, I'll do Shravana Manana Dityasa, I'll go to Himalayas and then I'll get experience of myself. That's nothing will happen. Okay, even if you go to Himalaya, your experience of yourself will be the same. But your understanding of yourself has to change. Experience cannot be changed. Understanding can be changed. That understanding change is called Atmadnana. Okay, let us just recollect what we have done so far. I'll just flash what we have done so far. So if you recollect, we are discussing about Jnana Marga, Atma Jnana Marga, the path of self-knowledge. It's called Jnana Marga. Here, Jnana Marga involves three steps: Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasa. Okay, listening and listening is called Shravana. So now, any knowledge for us comes only based on Shravana. Okay, eyes also give the knowledge. Shravana gives me knowledge. Listening only can give me knowledge. So Atmadnana also can come only through Shravana. Okay, that's why Shravana Granthas are there. Now, what do you listen in Shravana? You listen to the teaching of Veda Mata and listen to the teaching of a guru who will take the Veda Mata teaching and explain to you in a way you can understand. The guru has to have a good knowledge of Veda Mata, what she's saying, and should have a good teaching ability. If he doesn't have a teaching ability, then you will not be able to understand. So the teaching ability and knowledge of Vedanta is called Shrotriya. And the guru himself should be realized. Otherwise, he will not be able to give you the clear picture of what is there. So that person who is realized is called Brahmanishta. A Shrotriya and Brahmanishta, we have to listen to the truth. Otherwise, we will not get Jnana properly. So then comes the Manana. Manana means the Shravana is equivalent to planting a seed. So the Veda Mata is planting a seed of correct knowledge, right knowledge. About Atma, Veda Mata cannot tell you, because Atma you already know. Aparoksha Jnana is there for you. Your Nitya Aparoksha, Atma is always there for you. You know Atma. So Veda Mata is giving correct knowledge of Atma through teaching, like Tattvamasi, you are that. So that understanding of Tattvamasi is given by Guru to make you clear what is the meaning of Tattvamasi. That's Shravana. Then comes the Manana. Manana means, Shravana is like a planting a seed. Manana is removing the weed. There are a lot of doubts we have, lot of misunderstanding we have. That lot of doubt and misunderstanding has to be cleared. So then only the plant will grow. So the removal of all doubts is called Manana. For that, Manana Granthas are there. For Shravana, there are some textbooks. Manana, there are some textbooks. For example, Manana textbook is Brahma Sutra, Advaita Makranda, and others. Okay, so you have to protect the seed, protect the plant. The plant of Atmadnana you have to protect by removing the weed. So that's why Manana is like removing the weed. Then strengthen the thought. I am Brahman. Vedanta is teaching you, you are Brahman. So Atma is Brahma. Now don't start thinking that, oh, Atma, there's another entity called Brahma. Atma is Brahma. Atma, the self we are thinking is a limited. I am limited by body, mind, and intellect. The Vedanta is only telling you the self is unlimited, not limited by body, mind, and intellect. That is called Brahman. Self unlimited is called Brahman. Self-limited is called Jiva. Right? So that's all. Vedanta is teaching that you have to meditate, Nididhyasa. So for that, Nididhyasa, some granthas are there, textbooks are there. So this is like growing the plant. Whatever seed has been sown, the seed has to grow into plant, it has to become a tree. It has to be deep. What knowledge has to be deep? I am Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi. I am Purna, Purnoham. I am Mukta, Muktoham. It has to be, this thought has to be strengthened. Please understand, meditation is not making the mind blank. Meditation is not removing the thoughts. Meditation is strengthening the thought called Aham Brahmasmi. Nididhyasa that's the Jnana Marga. So for that, Sri Shankaracharya started with the comparison of Ashtanga Yoga and Jnana Yoga. Because Ashtanga Yoga, we are all familiar. We see the June 20th or 21st is the International Yoga Day. All over the world, people know what is yoga. Sitting in some posture, meditating, breathing, all those things they know. So when Shankaracharya teaches, he takes what you know, yoga, which is popular, and teaches you what is Jnana Yoga. Okay. A teacher has to tell you from known to unknown. First, he has to tell you what you know, he has to explain. Then he has to take you unknown. So he takes Ashtanga Jnana Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga, which is Patanjali Maharshi did that. It involves 8 steps. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. Okay. So this is a dualistic system. In yoga, there is a dualistic system. Purusha and Prakriti. Consciousness and matter is a duality. So the purpose of yoga is Samadhi. Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Nirvikalpa Samadhi means thoughtless state. Okay. It gives a control over the mind. But ego is there because you are controlling the mind. So you are starting from a body and going inwards to Atma. It results in a Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Nirvikalpa Samadhi means thoughtless state. Shankaracharya takes the same Ashtanga Yoga and gives 15 steps of Jnana Yoga, maps into Jnana Yoga, 15 steps. Everything in Ashtanga Yoga is converted into Jnana Yoga so that you can understand, map it. Advaita is non-dual. Advaita, Purusha and Prakriti are not two. The consciousness and matter is not two. Whereas yoga is Dvaita. So in yoga, the focus is thoughtless state, blank state, no thoughts. Jnana is a state of thought. Please understand, Jnana, we'll confuse Jnana and yoga. So Jnana is a thought. Aham Brahmasmi thought. I am Brahman. The thought becomes deeper and deeper. That is the state of Nididhyasa. So then that thought will take you to deeper, and then you realize you are Brahman. You are one with the Brahman. Then people confuse Ashtanga Yoga and Jnana Yoga. So Ashtanga Yoga is for Nirvikalpa Samadhi, making mind thoughtless. Whereas Jnana Yoga is not Nirvikalpa Samadhi. It is Nirvikalpa Jnana. Many people, when they're translating Atma Jnana, Vedanta, into English, they convert it to Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Jnana Yoga is not about Nirvikalpa Samadhi. It's Nirvikalpa Jnana. It's very different. Nirvikalpa Jnana leads to Sahaja Samadhi, natural state or enlightenment. It leads to Jivan Mukti, transcending mind. Whereas yoga is about Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Nirvikalpa Samadhi is a temporary state. So you enter into Samadhi, half an hour, 45 minutes, you'll get some peace. Jnana Yoga is not about Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Jnana Yoga is Atma Jnana. Who am I? Very clear understanding. So Jnana Yoga affects you at the intellectual, buddhi level. So we have 5 koshas: Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha. In Jnana Yoga, we start with the innermost layer called Vijnanamaya Kosha, buddhi. Whereas in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, we start from outside, physical body. Annamaya Kosha, we go inwards. So they are different. But Shankaracharya gives the example of Patanjali Ashtanga Yoga and tries to give us 15 steps of Jnana Yoga. This is called 15 steps of Nididhyasa, meditation. Shravana, Manana, Nidhyasa. So what is that? First is Yama. Yama means don't. Okay? You have to understand, you have to drop desires. Yama means what you should not do in yoga. So you should not, world is unreal. That understanding helps you drop desires. It's all Jnana. Please understand. In Jnana Yoga, it's all Jnana. In Patanjali Yoga, you have to practice. Okay. Here is the understanding. Understanding results in practice. Whereas Patanjali Yoga, practice you have to do first. Then gradually understanding will may come. So Niyama means do's. Then you hold the thoughts of Satchid Ananda. Brahman always. Then Tyaga, Sannyasa. Sannyasa means reject Anatma. The body, mind and intellect are Anatma. So reject it as Anatma, not the self. Nanu, Nanembudu, Nanalla, Ideha, Manabuddhi, Nanalla, Sachidanandatma, Shivananunane, Shivoham, Shivoham. I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the intellect, I'm pure consciousness, Shiva Swarupi. All that thought is called Tyaga. So we have actually in yoga, Tyaga means, okay, I have to, yoga Tyaga is there. Oh, I have to leave my family, leave my house. Okay, I have to go to Himalayas. That's called Tyaga. In Jnana, that's not called Tyaga. Tyaga is leaving your ignorance. Anatma is Tyaga. So in traditionally, yoga means, Tyaga means, or sannyasa means, dropping what you have. My wife, my house, my family, my job, living that is called Tyaga. Living my habits, coffee, drinking, tea is Tyaga. Whereas in Jnana, Tyaga means not living what you have, living what you are. I am the body, I am the mind, I am the intellect, you have to drop. That is called Ahankara. And I have body, I have my wife, my children, my job, it's called Mamakara. Traditionally, sannyasa is related to Mamakara, Atmadnana is related to Ahankara. Tyaga. Then Mauna, silence. Okay, now silence we know of the mouth. Talking, sound and silence we know. So the silence in Veda, Atmadnana is not silence. Silence is beyond sound and silence. Atma is Sakshi. Staying I am as Atma is called silence. Not about the world. A person who is silent, who is established in Atma can keep on talking, but still is silent. He is established in silence, Mauna. The right place, Desha. So now, for yoga, you need a practice place. I have to work here, I have to study here. Whereas Jnana, there's no place. Brahman is all, everywhere. Can you find a place where Brahman is not there? I am all Brahman. Sarvam Khalu Brahma is called right place. Right time. Okay, Brahman alone appears as time. So Brahman alone is Kala, understanding that Kala. Asana means sitting posture. So in yoga, they have sitting posture, lotus posture, and Siddhasana. Here, asana means Brahman is the seat. How Brahman is the seat? Entire world is appearing in Brahman. Brahman is the seat. Okay, I am Brahman is the knowledge called asana. So like a movie is projected on the screen. All movies appear on the screen. The screen is the seat. Like that, entire world is projected on Brahman. I am Brahman is the asana. Pranayama means breathing in Yogasana. Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya. Oh, breathe in Brahma Satya. Breathe out Jagat Mithya. Means Puraka and Rechaka is called Brahma Satya and Jagat Mithya. Oh, don't start doing, Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya, breathing in, breathing out. No, it's not about breathing in, breathing out at all. It's an understanding. What you have to reject is called Jagat Mithya. What you have to accept is called Brahma Satya. It's knowledge. It's not about breathing. Mula Bandha, there's a bandha or position in yoga. You put a lock at the base of the spine. So the Mula Bandha is called Brahman. I am Brahman is the Mula Bandha. Because Brahman is the root of the world. Okay. Samatva means balance. Balance is possible when only know Atman is Brahman. That is called Samatvam. Gazing, drishti. In yoga, you might have seen the yogis are like gazing like this or gazing in the tip of the nose, gazing far away. So that gazing is external. Here gazing is Jnana Drishti. In Charma Chakshu or sense organs, your yogis gaze. But through Jnana, we have to understand. That's called Jnana Drishti. What do you have to understand? Sarvam Khalu the Brahma. All this is Brahman. Then Pratyahara is sense organ control. How can you control sense organs? When you say Jagat is Mithya, world is unreal, you will not be interested in what is there in the month. No sense object to attract you or repel you. Raga, Dvesha is not possible. See, in movie, there are so many sweet dishes are there. You don't get attracted to sweet dishes because you know it's a movie. So there's no attraction or repulsion when you understand the world is like a movie. Dharana means concentration. Concentration what? Seeing Brahman everywhere is dharana. Dhyana means meditation. Constant knowledge that I am Brahman is meditation. Samadhi means absorption. It's called Jnanishta, Brahmanishta, Jivan Mukta, establishment in Brahman. So now this is not a thoughtless state. I am Brahman is a thought of state of thought. So finally, the thoughts get dropped. I am Brahman thought gets dropped because it's no longer relevant. So it's like you will attain a Nirvikalpa, but not because you're forcing the thought. For example, you meditate, I am a man, I am a man. How long you will meditate? Once you understand you are a man, forget it. That thought is not required. I am Brahman, you meditate until you realize you are Brahman. After that, not required. So then, this is the summary of what we did in the last class. So let us go. Now, shloka number 126 of Aparokshanubhuti. Such a person, he is a master of all yogis. He becomes a Siddha Purusha. He becomes perfect, devoid of any more practices. The nature of such a person cannot be an object of the mind or speech. So Sri Shankaracharya calls a Gnani as Siddha Purusha. So Siddha Purusha, the moment Siddha Purusha we speak, all we start getting imagination. Oh, Siddha Purusha, he will wave his hand like this and then Vibhuti will come. He will wave his hand like that, gold will come. He is a miracle maker. He touches my head and I'll get light in my head. He touches my body and I'll get healed. So we start speaking of Siddha Purusha as miracles. Siddha Purusha, we should not confuse with the miracles. Siddha, that miracles are called Siddhi. Siddhi. Okay, Siddhi are achievements of the mind. It's an achievement of concentration of the mind. A Siddha Purusha is one who has dropped the mind. Siddha Purusha is not doing any miracles. He has gone beyond the mind. Mind is Maya. He has gone beyond the mind. So Gnani has gone beyond the mind. He is a Siddha Purusha. So I will use the word other way. Siddha and Shuddha. Okay. Siddha means one who is able to do miracle. Shuddha means one who is pure. So Gnani has become pure. So don't expect, oh, the moment you say Gnani, oh, he'll do miracle. Don't expect that because Gnani has gone beyond Maya. All miracles are possible in Maya. So does it mean that no miracles will happen in the presence of Gnani? There can be miracles happening in the presence of Mani because of grace. But Gnani will never claim I did the miracle. Gnani has no doership. I am the Karta. I am Bhokta. I am the enjoyer. I am the Gnata. I am the knower. Then no doership is there. That's why Gnani says, okay, it happened, miracle happened. But Gnani will never say, I did the miracle. Whereas Siddha Purusha will say, hey, I only did the miracle. See, I got gold. See, I got silver. So there's an ego there. Okay. This is difference between Siddha Purusha and Siddha Purusha. So here Shankaracharya is using the word called Siddha Purusha. Just to avoid the confusion of Siddha and Siddhi, I have clarified. So Shankaracharya has completed the 15 steps of Nididhyasa. Now, how long I have to keep on doing Nididhyasa is the question. Should I do Nididhyasa till I die? So Sri Shankaracharya says Nididhyasa is not required till you die. Nididhyasa is required till you are established in Brahman. Nididhyasa is a practice. Once you become perfect, you drop Nididhyasa. Nothing is required. It is like this, no? You learn a car driving. So you go to a driving school. You pay some money, 5,000 rupees, and get 15 lessons in driving. So it's a practice. So then after 15 lessons, you get a license. After that, you don't need a practice. You can drive easily in the traffic. Right? No. After 15 days also, you have to continue practice till you are next 20 years. Till you 20 years, you have to be a member of school of driving school. Meaningless. So Nididhyasa is a practice until you are established in Brahmadnana, Brahmanishta. Shankaracharya says Nididhyasa need not be done after you are established Brahmanishta. It's like, okay, another example, cooking. So I don't know cooking. So the lady says, I don't know cooking. So then you will give the, somebody comes, his mother or mother-in-law comes and teaches cooking. That's a practice. How much salt to put, how much chili powder to put, all those things. You learn, practice. After that, there's no practice. After that, cooking will happen. You'll start. After that, mother-in-law will not come, mother-in-law will come. Definitely mother and mother-in-law will not come near your cooking place. So you are fully doing it. So Nididhyasa is required until you are fully established in Brahman. After that, Nididhyasa is not required. Shravana Manana is not required. All your Vedanta practice stops. So that doesn't mean that you'll run away. You may teach others, you may help others. But for you, it is not required. Right? It is like saying, somebody has studied in the college. Okay? He has studied engineering. Till engineering is studied, he has to study engineering subjects. But when he passes out of engineering, the college will not say, I give the degree certificate, now you have to continue to study. So Nididhyasa has to be practiced until you are established in Brahman. After that, it's not required. So in fact, Veda Mata says, Vedanta and Upanishad and Vedanta and Upanishad say, Vedaha bhavanti avedaha. For a Gnani, Vedaha bhavanti avedaha. Vedas are no longer required. A textbook is not required after you learn. Over. A driving school is not required after your driving is over. Like that, Nididhyasa is not required after you are getting it. So why Veda says like that? See, Veda Mata says, I am here to give you mukti, liberation, freedom. Okay? The freedom has to be total. Partial freedom is not possible. If I tell you, you have to practice Nididhyasa after you get mukti also, after you get done also, then I am putting you burden on you, bondage on you. Not required. If I tell you, study Vedas after you get mukti also, then I am putting you bondage on you. Don't do that. If you want to teach people, teach it. But for you, it's not required. Nididhyasa is not required. That's what Shankaracharya says. So now what is the condition? And Jnana is available to him when it is required. And Jnana is available to him when it is required. That means Atma Jnana comes up when it is required. So now, don't be under the impression that Brahmadnani will keep on chanting Aham Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. He doesn't keep chanting. The chanting stops, the thinking stops. Mind becomes silent. So now Jnana is available to you when you need it. It's like a vaccination. Okay? You know vaccination? Now we are very familiar with vaccination, right? This virus and we give vaccination. So the vaccine will be quiet. When the virus attacks, the vaccine will become active, destroy the virus. Again, it will become inactive. Another virus comes, it will destroy and come back. Vaccine will be useful only when the virus attacks. Similarly, Atma Jnana or Brahman Jnana is there in the back of the mind. Only when some disturbing situation comes, so Jnani will remember, Jnana that Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman will come and he will face it. Again, Jnana is not required. So he doesn't have to remember I am Brahman all the time. It's almost like saying you are a man or you are a woman. So continuously, when you are interacting with the world, you'll forget that you are a man or woman. You don't need to because you are involved in the work, business. But for a woman, if somebody looks at her, immediately she feels that I am a woman. Then she looks at her face. She becomes conscious. Similarly, for Jnani, Atma Jnani, he'll be involved in the work and doing work like any other common man. He'll become aware that I am Brahman only when it is required. It's like a virus. After that, again, he is common man. This is the difference. Okay. Now, what is Brahmanishta? How long? You have to be established in Brahmatnana, just like you understand that I am body, I am a man, I am a woman. So that I am a man, I am a woman, you don't have to remember. If you have to remember, then you are not a man. So like that, I am Brahman has to be deep-rooted thought. That is called Brahmanishta. So now, can anybody understand a Brahmanishta? Nobody can understand a Brahmanishta. Nobody can understand Jnani. Because Jnani has no external characteristics. A sannyasi or a monk has a characteristic. He will wear a beard, he has a separate dress. A policeman has an external characteristic. So Jnani has no external characteristic because the internal characteristic itself is gone. I am the body, I am the mind, intellect is gone. So Jnani may live like a common man. Nobody can understand Jnani. Why you cannot understand Jnani? Because Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. Knower of Brahman becomes Brahman. Jivatma has become in one with Paramatma. A river, Ganga river, has merged with the ocean. Now you can no more Ganga river is there. Ocean is there. Yamuna river has merged with the ocean. No more Yamuna river is there. Only ocean is there. So no more in the body of a Jnani, individual Jiva is not there. Only Brahman is there. Now the problem with Brahman is beyond our mind and sense organs. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Touch, sound, smell and taste will not affect. Touch, sound, smell and taste will not be there for Brahman. Any object in the world has a touch, sound, and smell. Apple has a form. Brahman has no form. So because of Brahman has no form, the mind cannot grasp Brahman. So then how can you understand a Gnani? You will never be able to understand a Gnani. You will never be able to understand a Brahmadnani Guru. So then what will happen to him? After he becomes Brahmanishta, he becomes free from mental, emotional disturbances. Kama, Krodha, Mada, Matsara, Moha, Lobha. That's called Arishadvarga. Kama means desire. Krodha means anger. Matsara means jealousy. Moha means attachment. Lobha means greed. All this will drop from him. He will be deep peace inside. So he will not go and say, I am Brahmadnani, I know Brahman. He will say, innerly inside peace. And he will live like a common man. He may help and teach and guide others who are seeking. Or he may do some. That's all. But there's no external characteristic. Adnani can never understand it. Gnani. Never be able to understand our Sadguru. Only when you become Gnani, you'll understand a Gnani. Only when we become Sadguru, when we realize Guru in us, we can understand a Guru. Don't mind. Now, with this, he has completed, Shankaraja has completed 15 steps of Nididhyasa. 15 stages of Nididhyasa. Okay? So now what is Nididhyasa? We'll understand. Nididhyasa is assimilation Atmadana. Nididhyasa is not a new experience because all experiences are mithya, unreal. Please understand. So we have a very, very wrong concept. I will do meditation and I will get experience of Atma. False. You'll never Atma. And all experiences are temporary. That experience will come and go. Atma experience will never come and go. Atma is eternal. So we are not looking for experience in Nididhyasa. We are looking for removal of ignorance in Nididhyasa, not experience. So there was a great being, Papaji. Because of his Purva Janma Karma, he had always darshan of Krishna. He used to play with Krishna as a young boy. When other children are playing with other boys, because of his Saguna Upasana of Krishna, he used to play with Krishna. When children are playing marbles with their friends, he used to play with Krishna because he can see Krishna, experience Krishna, feel Krishna. He comes to Ramana Maharshi and says, I am able to experience Krishna. He is very proud of his achievement. Ego has not gone. So Ramana Maharshi asked him, are you able to experience Krishna all the time in waking state, dream state, deep sleep state? No. Then realize what is available in the waking state, dream state, deep sleep state. That's called Atma. So all this experience of Krishna, Rama is temporary. Okay, realize the true self. Papaji gets very angry. Okay, then he goes. Then he realizes self and he becomes another teacher called Papaji. Many students he has. Same thing happened in case of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa used to see Mother Kali in physical form. He used to give Naivedyam to her. She used to eat. She used to talk with him. When Totapuri comes and says, meditate, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa says, no, I cannot meditate. Mother Kali is coming in front of me. So Totapuri says, cut Mother Kali. It's a mithya, unreal experience of the mind. Come to Satya. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa removes Kali from his mind and he is established in Atmadnana. This self-Atmadnana is not an experience. It doesn't come and go. If it comes and goes, it's mithya, temporary, unreal. It's a mental projection. So then, what will happen to him? He becomes Purna. Purna means Purnoham. I am full. I am complete. Purnoham. Purnamadaha, Purnamidam, Purnat, Purnamuduchyate. I am complete. How will he become Purna? I am limited by body. I am limited by mind. I am limited by intellect. That's called Jiva. So I am spatially limited, time limited. I am limited by knowledge. When you realize you are Brahman, you are unlimited. Not occupied, not space. Space and time do not bind you. So when they don't bind you, you are all pervading. The world is you. So there is no me and the world. There's no duality. There's no me, duality of me Ishvara and the world. Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, duality is not there. Then what is there for you to gain? You are Purna. When you are the entire universe, the Purnatvam is there. So that Purnatvam he owns up. So no, don't think that, oh, he did Nididhyasa and he became Purna. That's wrong. He was Purna all the time. You are already Purna. You have Nididhyasa only helps you to recognize the Purnatvam. It is not that, oh, I do Nididhyasa and recognize it. Please understand, Atmadnana is not a spiritual practice, sadhana. Atmadnana is Shodhana, search for reality. Sadhana and Shodhana are very different. Sadhana means, or spiritual practice means, I want to get something what I don't have. Okay? For that, effort is involved. That's called sadhana, spiritual practice. Many people, the sadhana is very valid in yoga because you have to do practice. Whereas in Vedanta, Adnana is Shodhana, search, not sadhana. What is Shodhana, sadhana? Okay, a woman wants a necklace. I want a necklace. She tells the husband. Now, husband doesn't have the money. He has to go and earn. He has to do work. Then he goes and buys the necklace and gives. So, necklace you don't have. That's why you do sadhana. Means practice is required. Work is required to get it. So, women wears the necklace. Then she goes to marriage. In the marriage, so many people are there. She forgets that she is wearing necklace. She thought that her necklace is lost. She starts crying. My necklace is lost. Then some woman comes and says, what is there in your neck? Oh, necklace is here only. So necklace was never lost. Necklace was forgotten. So then what is required? Shodhana. What you have recognized is called Shodhana. Purnatvam is not a sadhana. You don't become Purna by doing sadhana. Finite can never become infinite by sadhana. Whatever work you do, finite, limited being Jiva can never become Brahman. You have to recognize, it says Shodhana. Shodhana means search. I am Brahman, you have to recognize. Recognition. Your wrong understanding has to go. That is called Brahmadnana. So now, what will give Nididhyasa give to me? It will give me Ananda. Now this Ananda, there are two types of Ananda. Ananda means happiness. Kritima Ananda and Sahaja Ananda. Swarupa Ananda. Kritima Ananda means artificial. Like artificial flower. Like artificial apple. You cannot eat it. Okay. Happiness, artificial happiness and real happiness. Akratima Ananda is real happiness. Okay. Nididhyasa is about real happiness, not about Kritima Ananda. Artificial. So example of Kritima Ananda, artificial, is I will be happy if I drink a cup of coffee. So I put a cup of coffee in my mouth, I feel happy. Now the coffee induces happiness in you. So I think that's coffee Ananda. Then I do bhajan Ananda. Then I do yoga Ananda. So these are all Kritima Ananda, artificially created. Not real Ananda. Swarupa Ananda. It's all plastic flowers. Swarupa Ananda is your own nature. It cannot be created. Can you create a plastic flower as real as a real flower? Your Swarupa Ananda you have to discover. The discovery of Swarupa Ananda is called Akritima Ananda. It's not artificial. What is this Kritima Ananda? Kritima Ananda is because of object I get some happiness. I drink a cup of coffee, I become happy. So I think starting happiness is coffee. So so many advertisements, happiness is this car, happiness is this house, happiness is this cup of coffee. So they are trying to sell happiness in the form of cup of coffee, house and car. Happiness cannot be purchased like that. Then why do I get happy? Because when I drink a cup of coffee, my mind becomes silent. In that silent mind is one with the Atma. The bliss of Atma is reflected in Anandamaya Kosha. So that's why happiness is there. Happiness didn't come from coffee. So coffee is Akratima. That means Kritima means artificially induced happiness. In Nididhyasa, you are finding Akritima Ananda, your Swarupa Ananda, your natural happiness. No, don't compare the happiness of a coffee Ananda and all. You don't magnify it. Your natural Ananda is not an experience. Natural Ananda is what you are. So what you are cannot be experienced. What you are, you can only know. Do you know what it means? What you are is not an experience. What you experience is what you are not. I experience happiness. Okay. So I'm not happiness. I experience sorrow. I'm not sorrow. I'm the experiencer. Experience is always different from the experience. Experiencer cannot experience himself because he's an object. You only get a jnana. I am Brahman. I am pure awareness. I am Ananda Swarupa. So the Akritim Ananda is real happiness, is recognizing I am Ananda Swarupa. I am infinite by removing all finiteness. Infinite cannot be experienced because if you experience infinite, it becomes finite. So let us understand Nididhyasa in a bit more clarity. What is Nididhyasa? We have to understand, very important. Okay. Why? Because there's so much of confusion is there about meditation, Nididhyasa. It's like that. So now there are 3 steps: Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasa. Okay. And Jnana is only through Shravana and Manana. Atma Jnana, or understanding yourself, is only through Shravana and Manana. Jnana is possible only in the waking state. Nididhyasa is also possible in the waking state. Okay. Then why Nididhyasa? Why Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasa? 3 stages. Please understand, any knowledge you acquire only happens in waking state. Dream state, you cannot get any knowledge. Deep sleep, you cannot get any knowledge. Samadhi also, you can't get any knowledge. Because your instrument of knowledge, sense organs and mind are shut down in Samadhi also. So people think that, oh, you enter into Samadhi and then you get Jnana. No. Samadhi means shutting down your instrument of knowledge called mind and sense organs. That's called Nirvikalpa Samadhi. When you shut down the instrument of knowledge called mind and sense organs, you'll never get any knowledge. I close my eyes and see something. I can't. Okay. So Samadhi does not give you knowledge. Nirvikalpa Samadhi does not definitely give knowledge. Thoughtless state does not give you knowledge. You can practice thoughtless state for many 10,000 years. That's not knowledge. Okay. So knowledge can come only through Shravana and Manana. Let us understand the importance of these. So look at our mind. Mind has a conscious part and subconscious part. There are 2 parts to mind: conscious part and subconscious part. In the waking state, when I see external world, it's a conscious part. Okay. What is there in my memory? What is there in my feeling? What is there in my emotion? What comes in my dream is subconscious part. What is deeply hidden in my memory? Our conscious mind is only 5%. Our subconscious mind is 95% deeper. All our experience of life is gone into subconscious. Or when I felt when I was a child, I went to class school. I went to a movie with my classmates. I enjoyed a seashore. All the good experience, bad experience are stored in subconscious mind. Okay. So now, Shravana and Manana, when you do consciously, in the waking state, you get a clarity. I am Brahman. That Jnana has to come only through Shravana Manana, not through Samadhi, not through meditation. Okay. So Shravana and Manana will give you conscious clarity. Every learning in your life has to happen consciously. The conscious learning starts first. I want to drive a car. So you have to learn where is the brake, where is the gear, how to turn the wheel. A conscious learning has to be done for 15 days. As you practice conscious learning, it becomes unconscious learning. It goes deep into subconscious. After 15 days of practice, then you don't need to become very conscious. You look somewhere, consciously your mind is somewhere, but subconscious mind will operate because all has gone into memory. Atma Jnana, also conscious learning through Shravana, Manana is the first step. As you do that, through Nididhyasa, you make into subconscious learning also. So once it becomes subconscious learning, you don't have to remember. You may just like you are driving a car, you look here, there. Whatever you do, you are Brahman, that is gone into subconscious mind. So now, please understand what happens in Atma Dhyana. There's a split between our conscious mind and subconscious mind. There's a split. Okay. We are actually split into two, the conscious and subconscious. The conscious mind is my outer personality. Subconscious mind is inner personality. My inner personality comes from my childhood. Inner personality comes from my relationships. So consciously, I am an engineer. Subconsciously, I am a person who is suffering all my life. So my past is my subconscious. My present is my conscious. So Shravana Manana clears the conscious first. Nididhyasa clears the subconscious. Are you clear? So when the I am Brahman thought goes deep inside Nididhya's subconscious, then there's no split between the conscious and subconscious. It's one integrated entity. Right? Others, what is there in Nididhyasa? What is there in subconscious mind? In Guru will tell you, Tattvamasi, you are Brahman, I am Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. Very happy. And the moment you go house, you become a wife, you become a mother, okay, you become an engineer, doctor, your roles will take over. Then you start remembering your friend, you become a friend. Then you start remembering your enemy. So you go to the past and future. So now the conscious mind and subconscious mind has to be one integrity with a one thought called I am Brahman. Then your job is done. That's called Nididhyasa. Right? Correcting your subconscious mind is called Nididhyasa. Correcting your conscious mind is called Shravana Manana. So now I'll give some more examples of Nididhyasa. So in the waking state, you enjoy a party. You see a movie, enjoy a party. Waking state. And waking state is present moment, right? Your is now, present moment. Now, that waking state, whatever experience you have, it has gone into your subconscious. It goes gone into memory. When you go to dream, that will come up. Party will come. Then your fight with your some girlfriend, fight with your wife will come. So all that in subconscious impressions, right? So now in Nididhyasa, what you do, consciously you are understanding I am Brahman. So then you close your eyes, then your inner movie opens up, inner dream opens up. You are a childhood friend, your enemy, your past, your all past will open up. Then you have to stay as Brahman. You have to stay as Brahman in the waking state, and you have to stay as Brahman in the Nididhyasa. I am Brahman, you have to remember, and you should not get attached. I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect, I am the Sakshi, the witness. You have to stay in the Nididhyasa. Then what will happen? Your past impressions will come, they will not affect you. Past impression will come and they will not affect you. So the past impressions dies down. So Nididhyasa is a process of clearing the past impression. Vasanas. So that's why many people say, I have listened to Vedanta for 15 years, but there's no change in me. There's no change in me because Nididhyasa has not happened. The past impressions records are there. The records have to come out, get burnt. You don't have to burn it. The moment you come to the surface and you become conscious of that Sakshi, that will get deleted. So Nididhyasa is about clearing your subconscious. Ultimately, the thought that Nididhyasa also is not thoughtless state. I am Brahman thought will go deep inside Nididhyasa. So that replace I am body, I am mind, I am intellect, I am husband, I am wife. All those thoughts will replace. Now your identity will shift from role to body, mind and intellect to Atma. You will not tell anybody. You'll tell anybody, somebody tell I am an engineer, I am a doctor. But you'll never say, I am Atma, I am Brahma. You'll never tell anybody. You know it. Deep inside, the transformation happened. So Nididhyasa is a process of transforming your personality. The transformed personality is called Sthita Prajna. What is the name? What happens to Sthita Prajna? Anything happens in the world, he is not disturbed. Dukeshu anudigbanaha, sukeshu vigataspraha, vitaraga bhayakrodha, stitadi mulurchate. Situations which create sorrow, he will not be depressed. Situations will create joy, he will not be elated. Raga, dvesha, attraction, repulsion don't affect him. Bhaya, krodha, fear and anger will not affect him. Why? External situation will change, but internal situation, internally, deep inside, he is anchored in I am Brahman. Vasanas have gone. So anything happening in the outer world does not affect him. For Adnani, for ignorant person, anything that happening in the world will enter into his mind. It will disturb him. It's like a boat. Boat has to be in the river. Okay, but water should not be in the boat. If water is in the boat, it will sink. Boat should be in the water, but water should not be in the boat. Gnani's life is like a boat. It's there in the water of samsara, but it doesn't know, water doesn't get in. That's called Sthita Prajna. Whereas Adnani's life, as boat is full of holes. The boat is in the river called samsara, water gets in, so the boat starts sinking, you'll get disturbed. So please understand, Shravana Manana is conscious activity. Nididhyasa is clearing subconscious. But it's not a separate activity. You don't have to hypnotize yourself. It's like driving license driving only. When you drive, you carefully drive. What is conscious becomes subconscious. So now many people have a wrong understanding. Atma Dhyana is beyond the mind. So you have to have a mystical vision. You have to go into Samadhi. Then you will get Atma Dhyana. So Vedanta says no. Okay. Mana eva karanam manushyana bandha mokshayoho. Mind alone is the cause of bondage and liberation. So any Dhyana has to happen in the mind. Ignorance is there in the mind. So Dhyana also has to happen in the mind. So you may, people say, oh, Atma is beyond the mind. Make the mind blank. Make the mind thoughtless. Then you'll get Atma Dhyana. It's false. It is wrong understanding, wrong teaching. So making the mind silent will give you some relaxation, some happiness, but it never gives you Atma Dhyana. So it's like for Dhyana, you need sense organs in the mind, right? Without sense organs in mind, you will not get Dhyana. So you shut down your mind in meditation, make the mind thoughtless, then no Dhyana is possible. Okay. Or in Samadhi, you shut down your mind, Nirvikalpa Samadhi, no Dhyana is possible. So Dhyana, Atma Dhyana is exactly same as any other Dhyana, any other knowledge. So don't make Atma Dhyana as some special kind of knowledge. Okay. If you have to learn physics, you have to listen to physics, understand physics from a teacher and get knowledge, Dhyana. So any knowledge in the material world, you'll get through sense organs and the mind. So physics, somebody is teaching physics, you have to see it, understand it. Shravana, Manana has to happen. Okay. That's physics knowledge. Knowledge requires sense organs and mind. Now, Atma Dhyana also requires sense organs and the mind. That's why Mana eva karanam manshana bandha moksha. Mind alone will give you liberation. Without mind, you can't. That is the beauty of a human being. Animals cannot understand Atma Dhyana. Animals have a mind, rudimentary mind. Human being has a more evolved intellect. Only human being can get Dhyana. Dhyana is knowledge. Only intellect is required. So people say, no. The Atma Dhyana is beyond the mind. Then that means you will drop the intellect. If you drop the intellect, there's no Dhyana. Then you are as good as an animal or stone. Okay. Wrong understanding is there. So then people say, close your eyes and meditate, then you'll get a beautiful vision and picture and all. Or some experience. All experiences are nothing but your subconscious impressions already stored. It's a movie getting projected. Right? So Atma Dhyana is also like another knowledge. Spiritual knowledge also is like a material knowledge. But there is a difference. What is the difference? In material knowledge, it's objective knowledge. Perception is required. For example, if I want to learn physics, physics objects are there. Physics I can learn as a law. And I have to read physics textbook. But Atma Dhyana also there is a textbook required. Textbook is required. That is called Vedanta. So if I have to learn physics, I have to learn physics textbook. If I have to learn chemistry, I have to learn chemistry textbook. If you have to learn about Atma, you have to learn Atma Dhyana Shastra. That's called Vedanta. Physics textbook will not give you. Chemistry textbook will not give you. So textbook is different. Okay. That is called Vedanta. Now what is special about Vedanta? Physics textbook is written by physics scientists. Chemistry textbook is written by chemistry scientists. Vedanta is written by Rishis. Now Rishis had this knowledge from Paramatma. So the Rishis, Vedanta, science and physics and chemistry are mental knowledge. It's a speculation, imagination. Whereas Vedanta Dhyana is received directly from Paramatma, Srimad Narayana, Sadashiva. So it's a apaursheya. It's impersonal. So there is no error in that. So the textbook is different. Physics and chemistry textbook is there. Vedanta Dhyana, Vedanta textbook is required. Okay. Textbook is different for Atma Dhyana. Then Guru's teaching is required. Guru is required for physics also, chemistry also, cooking also you need a guru, cycling also you need a guru, car driving is also a guru. Vedanta also you need a guru. Now the guru has to be well versed in scriptures. Vedanta he should know very well. He should be able to teach. If he can't teach, he is not a guru. So that Mahatma is a great Gnani, but he can't teach me. Then he is not a guru. He is a Mahatma. Do namaskara to him. If somebody has to be called a guru, he should have very clear teaching ability. And your teaching should be able to understand. Otherwise, not a guru. Then he should be Brahmanishta. That means he himself should be realized. Okay. So this is required. Then, what does Shastra teach me? Atma is aparoksha. There are three types of knowledge. Pratyaksha means through sense organs. Anumana means inference, mind. Then third is called aparoksha. Atma-jnana is always aparoksha. I am Brahma, I am Atma is always known. Okay. But the problem is, Atma is Brahman, you don't know. You know, I am Atma. One step you know, 50% you know. 100% you don't know. Atma is Brahma. Atma is infinite. Atma is unlimited. Atma is beyond time and space. You don't know. The Shastras will tell you what you don't know. About Atma, you already know. I am the body, I am the mind, I am the intellect. Shastras tell you, Shastras correct your wrong understanding of Aparoksha Dana. Your understanding, you are already Dana. Aparoksha Dana is there. Okay? Shastra Dana only correct your wrong understanding. Please understand, it doesn't give you experience of self. There are two types of knowledge. Okay? The knowledge, one type of knowledge, I have a knowledge. Okay? I get a knowledge. Let's say, for example, I want to go to Himalayas. So I don't know how to go. From my friend, I know, oh, Himalayas, I have to go like this, I have to carry this luggage and all those things, and I go. So I get a knowledge first, then do the work, and then get the experience. There are three steps involved. Get the knowledge first, do the work, and get the experience. Right? This is the first type of knowledge. It applies in the material world. But Atma-jnana is not like that. Atma-jnana is a knowledge which is different kind of knowledge. I already have knowledge, but I have wrongly understood it. Okay? I'll give you an example. We went to Nepal, Kathmandu. We are looking for a king's palace. How big is the palace? See, we are familiar with Mysore Palace. We are looking for a very big palace. We are not able to find a big palace of King's Palace. So then we asked somebody, please tell me, where is the King's Palace? My dear sir, you are standing in front of the King's Palace. This is the King's Palace. There's a palace, but I am not able to recognize it. So I have a jnana already, but I have wrong jnana of that. That's like that Atma jnana. I have a aparoksha jnana. I have already jnana. Atma jnana, I am, everybody knows. But I have wrong understanding. Wrong understanding can be corrected with jnana. So now in jnana, there are no three steps. In the first case, there are three steps. Get jnana, do work, and then experience. In Atma jnana, there are no three steps. Get jnana and know. Because you already ignore, wrong understanding is there, correct it. The example of this is, sun is going around the earth. That's our experience. Early morning, we see earth, sun is going around the earth. East to west. I say sun is going around the earth. It's a wrong knowledge. Based on my perception. Okay. The scientist will come and tell me, no, earth is going around sun. He will tell logically. Then I understand. Jnana is there now. Earth is going around sun. So Atma Jnana belongs to this category. Correction of our wrong understanding. That's why it's called Jnana. Now, will Atma Jnana change my life? Atma Jnana will it change my perception? If you understand earth is going around sun, your perception will not change because sense organs will still fool you. Similarly, Atma Jnana, Brahma Satya Jagan Mithya will not change your perception, but it will change your understanding. How will it change your understanding? You see a snake and you are afraid. Okay, you are scared. Then you understand it's a rope. So now you understand a rope. Jnana has changed. But snake you still see because the lighting condition you see is still a snake. Then your perception has not changed, your understanding is changed. So Atma Jnana is about Jnana Chakshu, not about Charma Chakshu, not about sense organs and perception. So that's why the myth, there's a myth is spiritual knowledge does not require a mind. That means spiritual knowledge is only for idiots. Spiritual knowledge is only for animals. This is a wrong understanding. Okay? Spiritual knowledge requires mind. Mana eva karanam manushanam bandha moksha. Only through mind you can get knowledge. Mind has to be, so now spiritual knowledge you have to make mind blank. Why meditate? No. Put one peg of whiskey in your mouth. So the mind will become blank after some time. Right? Or take some drugs, mind will become blank. You will not get Atma Jnana. The blank mind cannot get Atma Jnana. So that's why many people are doing a mistake of making the mind blank for Jnana. That doesn't work. So will it help? It will help. Your mind will become peaceful because your disturbance is less. But that doesn't lead to Atmadnana. Atmadnana has to come only through Shravana and Manana. So reality is both spiritual knowledge and material knowledge are nothing but thoughts. What is Jnana? Jnana means thoughts. So if I have apple Jnana means apple thought. Okay? Atma or self is always known to me. It's aproksha. I am Brahman thought has to be developed. That's called Atmadana. I am Brahman thought clearly, without subconscious mind opposing me, has to be developed. That's called Atmadana. That's called Brahmadana. So now, let us understand what is Shravana and what is Manana and what is Nididhyasa. Our mind has two parts, rational mind and emotional mind. Okay, rational part and emotional part. Then volitional part is there, volition. Okay, rational part of the mind can be corrected through Shravana and Manana. Manana will help you to correct. Doubts will come. You give a rational answer. Then mind doubts will get clear. Rationally, mind is getting clear. It's called Shravana and Manana. Emotional part of the mind, emotions will always come from hidden impressions, vasanas. So I sit, I am talking to somebody, suddenly I get anger because anger is there in me. First, somebody has shouted at me that anger is there. That anger, what is there inside only come out. So emotional part of the mind clearance requires a Nididhyasa. Now Jnana is only clearly Shravana and Manana. Clearing the emotions is the Nididhyasa. Nididhyasa does not give you additional Jnana. No, one extra ounce of Jnana, one extra dosage of Jnana will not give you. Nididhyasa is a cleaning process. Okay. Shravana Manana is the Jnana process. Then I have a volitional part. Volitional part, doership. I am the doer, I am the enjoyer. The volitional part is there. The volitional part, you give a job of karma yoga, service. Okay, karma yoga and bhakti yoga will correct your volitional part. So there are three parts of our mind. Rational mind, emotional mind, and volitional mind. Rational mind you correct through Shravana and Manana. Emotional mind you connect through Nididhyasa. Volitional part of the mind you through karma yoga. So this whole process is called Atmano Mokshartam Jagadidaya. Self-realization and service. Self-realization is called Shravana and Manana and Nididhyasa. Shravana and Manana and Nididhyasa will cover your rational part and emotional part. Volitional part will get covered with the karma yoga, service, dropping the doership. So karma yoga and Jnana yoga, they go together. That's why Sri Krishna tells Bhagavad Gita, Sankhya yoga. Sankhya yoga is not a special yoga. Sankhya yoga is a combination of Jnana yoga called Buddhi yoga and karma yoga. Sri Krishna tells Arjuna, karma yoga you do and Buddhi yoga, Jnana yoga you do. So most of us, we do heavy Vedanta, heavy stuff, heavy lifting of Vedanta. I will study Vedanta, but we don't do karma yoga. Service we don't do. So volitional part is not addressed. Or some people do a lot of study of Vedanta, but don't do Nididhyasa. Emotional part is not addressed. They'll say, after 15 years of study also, there is no transformation in me. So, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasa is a transformation, deep transformation within you. So then, I want to tell you very clearly the Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasa, Samadhi and Jada Samadhi, because many wrong understanding of meditation is there. There is something called Jada Samadhi. There is something called Jnana Samadhi or Chetan Samadhi. And there is something called Sahaja Samadhi. We need to note the difference. Jada Samadhi is like a sleep-like state, thoughtless state, Nirvikalpa state, Nirvikalpa Samadhi, blankness. There's a bliss. So I sat for meditation. 1 hour passed. I didn't know what happened. I woke up. Nothing happened. You had a very good sleep, meditative sleep. Okay. No Jnana. Nothing happened. Because it's a blank state. In the deep sleep or Nirvikalpa Samadhi, mind gets folded. So Nirvikalpa Samadhi does not give you Jnana. It is like a deep sleep. You'll get a bliss. You'll get a happiness. It's as good as sleep. Okay. There's no wisdom. It's called Manolaya. Right? I'll give you 2 stories. One story comes from a yogi. A yogi was very good in Nirvikalpa Samadhi. He sits near a river bed, near a river, and starts meditating. He tells his Shishya, please get me 1 glass of water. The Shishya goes to nearby village to get 1 glass of water. By the time he comes back, there's a flood in the river. The yogi is submerged in sand. So after 1 week of struggle, they remove the yogi from the sand. He is still alive. He wakes up. First question he asks is, where is my glass of water? That means impression of glass of water is there. No clearance of, he is in samadhi, nirvikalpa samadhi, thoughtless state. No additional knowledge is possible in nirvikalpa samadhi. No additional knowledge is possible in thoughtless state. So many people get a vision. I get this vision, I get this vision. So please understand, the vision is nothing but your impression stored in your mind. It is coming out. It is not a new jnana. Okay. So please understand. Oh, somebody get a vision of a deity. So just ask him which calendar you saw that. What you saw in the calendar will appear as a deity. Okay. It's the impression which is stored. The meditation does not give you a special vision. The meditation does not give you special knowledge if it's thoughtless state. But Jnana Samadhi, coming through Viveka and Vairagya, which is coming through Shravana and Manana. Shravana and Manana, Jnana has come. Jnana has come in the earlier stage. So then you hold on to Jnana. Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. With that you go into meditation. Now you are able to face inner enemies. Inner vasanas are coming up now. You are equipped now. You have seen now, when the soldiers go to the war field, they will put the jacket, bulletproof jacket. Okay, they put bulletproof jacket, and enemy comes and attacks. They are prepared. They have the gun. They know how to shoot. Okay, so like that, Aham Brahmasmi Jnana is your jacket, bulletproof jacket. Any thought comes, they come like bullets, or past thought, or memories, impressions, they will come. But you have a bulletproof jacket called Jnana, Atma Jnana. Atma Jnana you already got in Shravana and Manana. Then you have a gun also. You can shoot down. Nididhyasa. Brahma Satya, Jagan Mithya, Jnana is there. You can shoot down these thoughts. Atman, Sarvam Khalu the Brahma. So you have a gun and bulletproof jacket. With that you go into Nididhyasa. Then whatever impressions come will not disturb you. That's called Nididhyasa. So another story of Nirvikalpa Samadhi. In Yoga Vashishta, there is a story of a Kaka Busundi, a yogi, great yogi. Yet the yogi, Kaka Busundi, he is taken the form of a crow. It's sitting on a tree in Mandara Parvata. One yogi goes and talks to Kaka Busundi. Please give me some jnana. Kaka Busundi says, I have seen many Brahmajis. Each Brahmaji's life is trillions of years. I've seen many Brahmajis. Okay, Brahmajis come, Brahmajis go. World is created, world is dissolved. I'm seeing all of them. How do you see all of them? Because Kaka Busundi says, I enter into Nirvikalpa Samadhi. When I wake up, another Brahmajis come. Then I'll go into Nirvikalpa Samadhi, another Brahmajis come. He has seen many Brahmajis, but didn't get Jnana. Nirvikalpa Samadhi didn't give him Jnana. That's the problem. That's why Yoga Vashishta says the story of Kaka Busundi. So please understand, there's a lot of confusion about Nirvikalpa Samadhi and Nirvikalpa Jnana. Vedanta is about Nirvikalpa Jnana, it's not about Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Okay? Nirvikalpa Jnana destroys the mano, it does manonasha. Impressions will go. Nirvikalpa Samadhi will give you bliss. And Nirvikalpa Samadhi, you enjoy happiness. That happiness is Kratima Ananda. It is the happiness because Anandamaya Kosha is there. Mind has become Anandamaya Kosha. That happiness you enjoy. So that's why people get addicted to Nirvikalpa Samadhi. I want to sit and meditate for another more time. I want to sit and meditate again because you are getting addicted to Anandamaya Kosha. Whereas a Jnani, he knows no addiction. He is Ananda Swarupa. It's Nirvikalpa Jnana, not Nirvikalpa Samadhi we are looking for. One person wrote to me, I am doing a chanting every day. I am doing 16 mala chanting every day. So it gives me so happiness. I want to get that happiness 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Can I continue chanting 24 hours? Is it practical? That person is working in the office. He has a family. He has to leave his job. Even if he leaves his job 24 hours, it's not possible. So any sadhana, Nirvikalpa Samadhi or any spiritual practice, including japa, will not give you the eternal bliss. Eternal bliss or Atma, it can only come through Atma Jnana. So then if you practice Nirvikalpa Samadhi, you will reach a stage, I am Brahman, the thought will be very deep. Then you are established Sahaja Samadhi. Then you don't need any practice. Nirvikalpa, this is gone. What is got? Nididhyasa is gone. So when I'm walking, I am Brahman. When I'm talking, I am Brahman. When I'm eating, I don't have to remember I am Brahman. Just like when I'm walking, I am man. When I'm talking, I am a man. I don't have to remember. Like that, I am Brahman. Thought is deep rooted. He lives in that. No practice is required in Sahaja Samadhi. So Vedanta says Sahaja Samadhi is Jivan Mukta. Until you reach Sahaja Samadhi, you are practicing Nididhyasa. So we have to understand the samadhi, jnana. Atma is common to Adnani and Gnani. Whereas Adnani, there is something called ego. Ego is called Jiva. Ego controls intellect and mind, and ego is always restless. That's why Adnani is always restless. Gnani, ego gets purified. Through, how does it get purified? Nanu, Nanembudu, Nanalla, Ideha, Manabuddhi, Nanalla, Sachidanandatma, Shivananani, Shivoham, Shivoham. I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the intellect, I'm pure consciousness, I'm Brahman. So that understanding, you are established in Atma. You are no longer a Jiva, no longer driven by Jiva, ego. So the intellect and mind are driven by Atma. Atma is serene, Atma is silent, Atma is infinite. So you are no longer driven by your passions, no longer driven by limitations. There's a peace and love in the mind. So this is called Jivan Mukta. When Jivan Mukta drops his body, he becomes Videha Mukta. He becomes completely merged with Brahman. Body gets dropped. So now I want to clarify the difference, because this is very important. I want to give you a very clear distinction. Meditation, there are a lot of wrong understanding about meditation. Meditation gives me mukti. I'm speaking of nididhyasa, okay? Meditation does not give you mukti. Make sure that meditation does not give you liberation. Because you are already mukta. You are already liberated. Meditation or nididhyasa will not make you mukta. So we have a plan. I'll do Shravana Manana. I'll do 10,000 hours of samadhi practice. Then I'll get mukti. No. Even 10 million years of your practice also will not give you mukti. Because you are already mukta. You are already liberated. Okay? Meditation gives me self-knowledge. False. Meditation cannot give you knowledge. Because meditation, you are setting down your sense organs and you are looking what is there inside. What is stored inside. What is stored in your memory. So jnana to get, you get jnana. Jnana, you need a scripture, shastra. You need to listen. You need to manana. Waking state only gives you jnana. Shravana and manana only gives you jnana. Meditation does not give you no jnana. No, I had an intuition. I had an experience. All these things are nothing but stored impressions, vasanas. The meditation does not give any new jnana. Meditation is not a means of knowledge. There are only three means of knowledge. Pratyaksha jnana through sense organs, inference through anumana, aparoksha jnana, direct experience. There are only three means of knowledge. Meditation is not one of the means of knowledge, not additional means of knowledge. Right? So our Shastra scriptures don't take meditation as a means of knowledge at all. So the meditation gives me jnana, meditation gives me experience. These are all actually spiritual fantasy. So what is the purpose of meditation? Purpose of meditation is consciously I understand. What Guruji has said consciously. Guruji, I have understood. I am Atman, I am Brahman. As long as I am in the class. The moment I go to house, I am the wife, I am the husband, I am an engineer, I am doctor, my vasanas will come up. Because my subconscious mind is not corrected. So the nididhyasa, purpose of nididhyasa is to accept subconsciously also I am Brahman, I am Purna. So your conscious mind and subconscious mind have to get integrated. That's the purpose of meditation. I am Purna Brahma has to happen deep inside. It's not an experience. Please understand. Atma Dana, Brahma Dana is not an experience. It's a clarity, understanding. So what is the benefit of meditation? Benefit of meditation is what Vedantic teaching, what you have consciously understood is subconsciously assimilated. So in your dream also, you know I am Brahman. So it changes my perspective about myself. It changes my understanding of the world. So my Jnana Drishti changes. My eye of wisdom changes. This is called third eye. So people think third eye is sitting here. Third eye is Jnana Chakshu, eye of wisdom. Our Charma Chakshu doesn't change. Our perception doesn't change. Oh, so Brahmatnani sees the world and the world appears like Brahman to him. His eyes have changed. No, nothing has happened. If eyes have changed, then you have to go to eye doctor. It only Jnana Chakshu has changed. Meditation gives me experience of liberation. Any experience, the fantastic experience also is Mithya because it's temporary. It appears and disappears. Atma or Brahman is Nitya. So no experience can give you about Atman. Any finite experience cannot tell you about infinite. Atma is infinite. Any finite experience is not about infinite. So, but what happens through Viveka, Vairagya, Shravana, Manidhyasa, you'll get a trapti, bliss, a peaceful state. I am Brahman. So meditation is to be practiced for lifelong. This is also wrong understanding. It's like lifelong I have to keep driving car, learning car. Lifelong I have to learn cooking. No. Nitidhyasa has to be practiced until you are established in Brahman, become Brahmanishta. Shravana Manana and Nitidhyasa has to be done lifelong. No. Scriptures and meditation are not required after you become Jnananishta. So now I'll tell you process of mukti. See, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was asked, what is the question about mukti? What is liberation? What is the requirement for liberation? Ramakrishna Paramahamsa said, listen to Bhagavad Gita. Okay, Gita. You keep on saying Gita, 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 it becomes Tyagi, Tyagi, Tyagi. Means to give up is mukti. Now, the moment I understand give up, very good, my wife I have to give up, my job I have to give up. What is troubling me? My job. So it is not giving up what you have. It is giving up your ignorance of what you are. It's about ahankara, not about mamakara. So I'll leave my family and go become a monk. No, that is giving up what you do, what you have. It's called mamakara. Atmadnana is about ahankara. Ahankara can be removed only through jnana. Ahankara cannot be removed with a cutting plier, screwdriver, nothing in it. Only through jnana. Jnana can come only through Shravana and Manana. Okay? So now, the process of mukti I have listed in 12 steps. First, you are called samsari, attachment to the world. So, samsari, you are attached. The attachment comes because of ahankara and mamakara. I am my identity and mamakara, my identity, mine. I and mine. So now, first step is drop the world of name and form. Understand world is mithya. How do you understand world is mithya? Through Shravana and Manana. Listening to teaching of Vedanta, Jagat Mithya, you understand. Now world is no longer real. Mithya. So I have made into these steps. Drop, hold, drop, hold. The drop symbol is like this, hold symbol is like this. So drop the world by understanding Jagat is Mithya. Then world will not disturb you. Kama, Raga, Dvesha of the world will not affect you. Unless you understand world is Mithya, the world will keep on affecting you. So then hold on to God, Ishvara. Now you have to hold on to Ishvara. Where is Ishvara? Ishvara is nothing but appearing in the world. The world you have to convert. The Ishvara has to swallow the world. So Ramana Maharshi says, do meditation on Ishvara. How? Ashtamurti Bradeva Pujanam. Ashtamurti. Jagata Ishadi Yukta Sevanam. The whole world is Ishvara. The entire world is appearance of Ishvara. I want to see God. I want to see God. The God is in front of you in the form of the world. That's why Vishnu Sahasranama says, Vishwam Vishnu Vashatkaro. Vishnu is appearing as Vishwa. So if you remove the name and form, what remains is Ishvara. So when you do Karma Yoga service, you are doing service to Ishvara. Deva Yadna, Pitra Yadna, Manushya Yadna, Bhuta Yadna, Rishi Yadna, when you do, you are offering your service puja to Ishvara. So you have to worship Jagata Ishadi Yukta Sevanam. The entire world is Ishvara. So now the world is gone. The world has disappeared. Ishvara is there. Because what is standing in front of you is Ishvara. Do service. Hold on to Ishvara. Hold. So now you become, samsari has become bhakta. A devotee. Why you have become bhakta? You want to become mukta. Before becoming mukta, you have to become bhakta, devotee. You have to do karma yoga and bhakti yoga before you want to become mukta. So then hold on to Ishvara now. Okay. So Ishvara, when he is pleased with your karma yoga and service, he will send a guru in you, your life. Nani guru will appear in your life. Grace of Ishvara is guru. Okay. Ishvara will send guru in your life. And who comes as a guru? Ishvara only. If you think guru is different from Ishvara, then you are still not get jnana. That's why we say Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo, Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat, Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri, Guruve Namaha. A Jnani Guru, a Jnani has already become one with Ishvara. There's no Jiva and Ishvara there. Ishvara only is operating the body of Jnani. So that's why when you are meeting a Guru or Jnani, Sadguru, is Ishvara only. That's why you say Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva, Maheshwara. It's not to please Guru. Oh, like we'll say Maharaja, Raja, Maharaja, Jai Jai. It's not like that. We are making a statement of fact. Ishvara and Guru are one. So when Ishvara is placed, Guru will come in your life. That's what happened to Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. He worshipped Kali. He held on to Ishvara, step number 3. Then Mother Kali got priest and she sent Totapuri. Who is Totapuri? Is nothing but Mother Kali. Ishvara only coming in the form of Totapuri. So hold on to Guru. Now Guru will give you Dana. The grace of Ishvara is Guru. Guru's grace is Jnana. Now, hold on to Jnana. Don't hold on to Guru now. Guru is giving Jnana. Hold on to Jnana. Okay? So now, there's Shravana. Then drop. Drop is Manana. Drop doubts. All doubts will drop. So then, drop the impressions. Drop the previous vasanas through Nididhyasa. Drop. So now you are already Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasa. You have reached the stage of Jnana Nishta. Now drop the Shastras. You don't need any more scriptures. You don't need to keep on repeating. I studied 10 scripture. I need 11 scripture. You don't need to that. Shastras can be dropped. Then drop Ishvara and Guru. Ishvara and Guru are the form. Okay? The world and Guru are nothing but name and form. How do you drop Ishvara and Guru? Ishvara, Guru, Atmeti. Ishvara and Guru are my Atma. Now you hold on to Atma. Ishvara and Guru are my Atma. Now no longer the outer form of Guru or world will matter. So hold on, drop Ishvara and Guru also. Hold on to Atma. So drop Guru and don't drop means okay, go and throw the Guru. I'm saying don't have attachment to the form. Okay. So the drop all sadhana. Now you are establishing Jnana. You can drop all the sadhana, including Nididhyasa. Because you are establishing, I am Brahman. It's a natural thought for you. Then all sadhana can be dropped. Then you have become Jivan Mukta. Jivan Mukta means liberated. Okay? Drop duality. You drop duality, you become Sthita Prajna. So then drop the body, then it becomes Videha Mukta. So this entire process of the whole thing is drop, 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 hold, drop, hold, drop. Hold what is the right thing? Drop. Hold, drop. Don't get attached to anything. Final dropping will take you Jivan Mukti. Final dropping will take you Videha Mukti. So please understand, our Upanishads are so great. Vedamata says, drop Shastras also. Vedaha bhavanti avedaha. For Jnani, Vedas are not required. So if you say a textbook, after becoming engineering graduate, you have to have textbook, study textbook every day. Then you are binding him. Veda says, I don't want to bind you with Vedas also. So I don't want to bind you with Shastras also. Don't have to do practice also. Okay, Veda says, I want to become free. So the Guru also doesn't bind Shishya. You have to become my Shishya only. No. After Atma Dana, you are my Atma. Guru and Shishya are one. So that realization has to come. And Nididhyasa has to be dropped. See, there's a Nididhyasa has to be dropped. After learning driving, you don't need to practice. Over. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, Totapuri taught Ramakrishna Paramahamsa Brahmadnana. So Ramakrishna Paramahamsa got established in Samadhi. After 3 days, he wakes up. Then after 3 days, wake up, Totapuri gives him, asking him to take some food. Then let us meditate again. Then Ramakrishna Paramahamsa asks, why meditation? Totapuri says, our mind can get polluted now. See, he shows his Kamandala, the drinking vessel. So this is made up of bronze. If I don't wash it every day, it will become dirty. Like that, mind can get dirty. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa says, what if the bronze vessel is gold? Do you want to wash it every day? So Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, 3 days of meditation, over. Nididhyasa is gone. So Totapuri is being practicing for meditation for 40 years, but still he has not established Sahaja Samadhi. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa is establishing Sahaja Samadhi. So Sahaja Samadhi, after Sahaja Samadhi, all practices drop. Practice also can be binding. With that, we'll stop today. We'll take up in next class. Let us do the prayer. Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mratyorma Amratam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudukshate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi Nanembudu Nanalla Ideha Manabuddhi Nanalla Sachidanandatma Shivananunane Shivoham Shivoham Shivoham. I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the intellect, I'm pure consciousness, Shivaswarupi. Atmadarshanam, Brahmadarshanam, Brahmadarshanam, Satyadarshanam, To know the self is to know the truth. To know the truth is to know the self is to know God. To know God is to know the truth. Let us pray for all the people who are suffering from corona by chanting Trayambakam Yajamahe mantra 3 times. May all people be free from suffering. Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanat Mrityor Mukshiyamamratat Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanat Mrityor Mukshiyamamratat Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanat Mrityor Mukshiyamamratat. May all beings be happy, peaceful. Lokaha samastaha Sukhino bhavantu. Lokaha samastaha Sukhino bhavantu. Lokaha samastaha Sukhino bhavantu. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.